Perfect. You're welcome. Did I take your seat? Okay, thanks. All right.
Yeah, we got seven, so we're gonna get started with this. Gonna call the meeting to order, please stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone, thanks for coming out in the cold. This is going to be a regular meeting of the Village of Washingtonville Planning Board this evening. The notice of intent to be lead agency for the 22 Howard Drive project has been determined. The Village Planning Board is the lead agency for 22 Howard Drive. We have the minutes from the November 22nd Planning Board meeting and the December 13th meeting. They've been submitted, reviewed, and we want to accept those minutes. Do we need to do a motion to accept them?
You should.
You should do a motion to accept the minutes.
Motion to accept the minutes?
Second, fourth of the 27th.
Yes.
And vote? Aye. Motion to accept the December 13th.
Motion to accept the 12-13 minutes?
Second.
Vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We have a calendar for the Village Planning Board for the 2023 meeting schedule. Everybody has a copy. Hopefully you have a chance to review it. Same thing, motion for this, also to accept this?
Yes.
Okay.
Make a motion to accept the calendar as printed?
I'll second.
Vote?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Easy stuff's out of the way. Next up, discussion, applicant Ephraim Halpert, 36 North Street, application for subdivision and site plan, section block and lot 107-2-63, RM zoning district. Amended proposal includes renovating the existing home to a two-family dwelling and seeking approvals to construct 6 attached two-story townhomes for a total of 8 units. Units include a full basement with a single garage and parking area under each of the 6 townhomes. Good evening.
Hello, board members.
Because so many of us are new and this project's been out there, I've asked David to privately just give us a brief rundown on the project to get how we got to here. Not too long, not too detailed. It's all yours.
Sure, I actually can't remember how long ago it was, but a while ago, we were here before the board on several occasions proposing different options for the site. In fact, at one time, I believe we came up with about 5 or 6 conceptual designs that included many different variations of the design you see in front of you. At one point, we had 2 buildings parallel to each other with parking associated with it and one entrance coming through. Then we did some variations of other layouts of 2 buildings to house these units. At that point, the thought came up of keeping the existing building because of the historicity of it. In the original designs or concepts, the thought was to demolish that existing 2-family home because there were a lot of concerns with it that were raised by the building department, and the cost effectiveness of doing all of that work was becoming prohibitive. But yet, with the option of building 6 townhouse or 6 units, along with keeping that existing house the project became viable. So the owner has agreed, along with, I believe, some of the members here, that it's important to keep that existing house because of its historicity. So he's willing to restore it, make it a two-family, and then in addition to that, it build these 6 other units on the property. The concerns at that time were relieved by the design process with our entrance into the site. Now there's the entrance to the existing house would remain. We have a new entrance proposed for the 6 units. We've kept it away from the wall that's shared with the drive leading to the cemetery. We've begun to satisfy the stormwater requirements by on-site testing, and we've evolved the process with lighting and landscaping per the board's request. We've also provided architectural renderings which allude to the historic nature of the village. I believe that was a request of many, so we proposed different details such as headers over the windows and moldings and porches and things of that nature to kind of do homage to the historic nature of the village of Washingtonville. We've even brought it down to the point of the light fixtures. We've kept them period light fixtures, so again, not to have a modern design, but something that would be more reflective of the village. And that brings us to the point here. At our last meeting, there were a few comments regarding the buffer between the existing house and the new 6 units, a walkway leading to the drive, some other comments. I believe we've addressed those. We increased the landscaping buffer between the existing house and the 6 units. We've clearly defined that the existing house would have more residential type lighting. I believe we proposed coach lights, which are typical in the area, just around the front door, and then one light shining on a couple of parking spaces that would be associated with that existing house. And we've increased the landscaping between the 2 buildings. And I believe it was a part of the 239 referral from Orange County Planning to have a walkway leading to the drive. We've shown that and started to detail that. Did receive John's comments from this morning. And I had an opportunity to review them, so I'm sure we can discuss those further, but I believe a lot of them we can address in a timely fashion. In my opinion, anyway, I didn't see anything that was so huge or such a showstopper that we could not work through the comments.
Okay, thank you. Planning board, anything you want to bring up?
In reading this, when you sent the email over, and I see there's a lot of comments on it. I walk the dog back there to that cemetery regularly, and man, there's a lot of water back there, and there's a lot of concern about it in his write-up. So where exactly do we stand with that? Has that been solved at this point to our satisfaction?
They did do soils testing in July. In July, there was no groundwater issues. We have asked that they expand the drainage study to account for, there's a significant land area around it that will drain to this property as well. And the property is a low point, basically the bowl that's gonna receive all of this water, which is the same area that they're looking to infiltrate in. So we did ask that they expand the study area, and then asked if there was additional information available about potential seasonal groundwater. We don't know if it's just surface water or a perched water table, or if it's truly just a groundwater elevation.
So we're still waiting for more feedback on that?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, there's nothing higher than that. When you walk, that stone wall's right there, when you walk along that path, it's down.
Right.
All right, thank you.
did on-site testing, we established the water table at that time. While our study includes the property, John had asked us to expand it beyond that. So now we're starting to include water sources that would be coming from off-site. And, that's a definite, huge consideration.
Okay. Are you going to submit a revised EAF one?
I believe we did.
Okay, I haven't seen a revised one.
We submitted a revised EAF,
With
We've
the
done a
new, the
traffic-
new description?
I understand there's a new attorney, working with us here,
For the night.
for the night, okay, but a revised EAF was submitted along with our traffic.
There will likely be additional revisions to that as we keep going.
Okay.
So that just gets amended as the project changes.
Correct.
I also have a question about the stormwater and.
Can you speak louder?
Oh, I'm sorry. I have a question about the stormwater retention and maintenance. And would this be a scheduled annual, confirmations in good shape, et cetera, so that it would be, for the stormwater, for the underground reservoir? Are you going to have a inspection or an annual report given on the maintenance of that?
Do you want to answer?
It's an MS4 community, right?
Yeah. Under the DEC requirements for this, they will be developing a maintenance schedule for it, an inspection schedule, and there would also be a requirement for posting a bond with the village, so that if the owner did not follow through on those obligations, that the village could do so.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question, is the bond kept in perpetuity?
Yes,
It is, okay.
as long as that system is in place.
So that we have to come up with an amount for that and support it?
Yes,
Okay.
there will be a stormwater agreement that goes with the village, which will include, basically, it's typically 1 year's worth of the full maintenance schedule for the system.
And I mean, on the renewal, isn't it amended if the cost, it reflects what you're saying, the description of the annual, costs, et cetera, so if it went up over time, for example, it would reflect that.
I would have to defer to the attorneys as to whether there's a cost index on it for inflation. You're probably not prepared to answer that, but we can follow up with Stephanie or Will.
I can take that question to Will when I see him tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Regarding,
No, go ahead, I'll go ahead.
regarding John's letter, line item 8, the planning schedule, landscape design, could you elaborate a little bit on that? It looks like you've done some additions.
Yes, John had asked for some clarifications, we of course are gonna show that. We did increase the amount of landscaping, as he mentioned in the paragraph, to 20 coniferous shrubs, 2 deciduous shrubs, and 18 red maple trees, to try to provide a buffer between the structures and also along the site. The graphics may have gotten a little mixed up, so we'll definitely clarify that in the next plan.
Okay. Will there be any kind of lines or anything along North Street? Or can we do anything that way?
We did the traffic report along there a while ago, when we submitted that. I don't believe they talked about anything, because we do meet the site distances required. I would hesitate about putting anything along North Street to just maximize the visibility along North Street yet. We can provide low-lying shrubs along there to just create a nice walkway sidewalk, and also, it would be a good opportunity then to integrate the walkway we have from North Street to the buildings, along with those shrubs, low-lying
I was
shrubs.
thinking tall trees, but okay, can we do that?
We could put them along North Street, we would have to have them somewhat set back. We wouldn't wanna put anything in the line of sight of either our proposed or existing driveway or adjoining driveways. So it couldn't be right on the road, but we could do something,
Some tall trees.
yes.
Are you talking placed sporadically, or in a linear fashion, or?
I'm thinking sporadically, make it look a little park-like. This is, my understanding is the building's gonna be set well back off of North Street.
Yeah, it's set back, at least 20 feet behind the existing building, the existing,
So there'll be some room for some, hopefully, a few tall trees there that will help, break up the view from North Street.
but that would block the beautiful view of the building.
Imagine that,
Say it ain't so, please.
Joanne.
Yeah, I see the placement, excuse me, the placement of your plantings, and I'm assuming that they'll be installed, allowing for a mature tree. I mean, these buildings will be up more than 20 years, you hope, right? So some of these maples get rather robust. So they'll be installed to allow for that type of maturation, right?
Well, they'll be installed probably at 4 to 5 feet in height.
Spacing.
Space,
Oh,
I'm
you're talking
talking spacing.
spacing? Oh,
Yes.
yeah, sorry, my misunderstanding. We have planting notes that describe the spacing that's needed between trees and shrubs, and without question, that'll be followed. And, I think there's some formula 2 times the circumference or radius associated with the tree, so that it matures. Of course, we'll do that, or it's specified already in the plans.
Before I forget, let me just jump in. Regarding building height, I noticed there's a significant difference between the front elevation and the rear elevation where we went to the garage. And these do have full basements with the garages underneath. So is it a 2-story or a 3-story? How does that actually qualify, or how do we measure the overall height of the building?
Yeah, we addressed that in the past few meetings, so it's the average height associated with the building on all 4 corners. But this is a 2-story building, because the majority of the basement is submerged below grade.
2-story with a full basement, and I did check, the height of the building per the village code is 33.72 feet, with an allowable maximum of 35.
Can I just ask for clarification, and I don't think I quite understand, are you proposing they'll pull into the back of your unit and park inside?
Yes.
Okay, so that side of the building is 3 stories exposed?
Correct.
Okay, so the front side is 2 stories exposed, the back side is 3 stories?
Correct.
Right, so your baseline is on the 2-story height?
For
On the front,
determining the height,
on height, on the front?
the way the village code determines a building height,
Mhm.
we take the average elevation of each of the building corners, and we come up with an elevation.
Okay, so you got 2 deep and 2 more shallow?
Correct. And then you measure from that average base elevation to the highest point of the building.
Okay, so let's argue that you have 30 feet clear up on the back side, might be 28, I don't know, and 21 on the front side.
Okay?
So the average would be 20-some feet. So does that mean the front is going to be 2 stories and part of the basement exposed?
Well, the code does not have us look at it that way.
But you're saying that the determination is from the exposed backs and the exposed front average.
No, the determination is the finished grade elevation of each of the 4 corners,
Right,
measured to the highest point, which in this case is the peak of the roof.
at the peak of the roof, okay. So how high is the building then?
33.72 feet on average.
Okay, and the back side of the building, just so I understand, I'm trying to figure this out. So the back side of the building has floor one, floor two, part of the roof visible, and a walk-in basement.
Correct. On the last sheet of their plans, they give you a rendering of what the front looks like.
Okay,
The back will be very similar, but below that, you'll see one story, which will be the basement slash garage.
okay, and this image is historic?
But this
These
is a
images
rendering.
are historic?
I'm sorry?
Are you saying the images we have here are you representing a historic
Yes,
comfort level?
yes, of course.
Tom, you have anything else you want to jump in with?
No, okay.
Let's talk a little bit about lighting. I know there was some additions to the existing dwelling. And are you gonna shine anything out into the parking area, or?
No, we show coach lights at the front door, you know, where the porch is, and then we do show one light on the side of the building that points towards the 4 parking spaces. And it would be more like something you see in just a residential house, you know, a floodlight with two bulbs shining down.
As far as the dumpster enclosure goes, is that gonna be just a single dumpster, or a dumpster and a recycle?
You know, I think we enlarged that to take in the planning board's comments last time.
Okay, it just shows a 12 by 12, and I don't know the size of how many, yard you're gonna need to accommodate 6 families. So, is it gonna be a recycle bin and a trash bin, or we don't know yet?
I'm listening to you, I'm almost sure we addressed it. Let me just read my notes just for a second.
No, it was brought up, I don't remember if it was confirmed.
Right. There's gonna be
You know what, it's not in our cover letter, but I'll make a note to make sure we address that in our next thing. But I'm almost positive we did, we increased the size.
How's the trash gonna be handled with the 2-family dwelling? Is that, they're gonna share that dumpster in the back, or we're gonna have their own trash removal?
No, I would treat the existing house as its own place, so it's a 2-family house, I mean, in appearance. So why would it need a dumpster enclosure or something like that? I mean, it can have regular.
Just regular service, like a regular, okay,
Exactly, yeah, why draw attention to something that's not there?
understood. I did read John's notes, and I've been looking at the elevations and whatnot. I'm also driven by the property quite a bit. There's a pretty deep hole in the back, and just from all the other properties around, there's gonna be a lot of water in there. Is that gonna be, I guess, at some point in time, with the heavy rains or heavy storms, is that gonna be problematic for the people who live here? Are they gonna be able to access their parking lot, or they're downstairs, or we don't know yet?
Well, we've asked them to expand their study and provide additional evaluation of that. So that's a question we're working to get an answer on.
Okay. Now, the other thing that we know is, and I assume that they're working off the same FEMA maps that we were working with other applicants from 2009.
Correct.
So, if we're able to come up with pictures with dates, can we forward them to the applicant to help him adjust if he needs to?
Yes, we could do that.
Okay. All right. So I'll make I did some looking, but I'll do a little more looking for pictures of that area during 2011, the hurricane.
about the construction period? During construction, can you hear me, I'm sorry? During the construction, while you're digging and moving dirt, and will you be scalping and putting topsoil or the surface to the side to reuse, to avoid overly compacting the remaining area after you construct? I mean, how are you gonna maintain, and put it to the side, not have dust out onto the cities, into the village roads, for example? Not having a muddy day, having vehicles drip mud onto
Well,
the public road?
you know, with most site plans, there's an erosion control plan in which we provide. And that shows how stockpiling of soil would be handled, how a temporary construction road would be put in to try to inhibit dirt coming upon the road from in and out of the construction site. And also there's notes regarding daily cleanup that have to be done or have to be adhered.
And you bear with me on this, I'm trying to get up to speed on this. Your lighting of your job site, as you start in the morning and you end at the end of the day, are you addressing the safety on portable lighting or getting light into the work area?
I would love to be at this portion of the project. We're not there yet some of those methods and means of construction are dependent on the contractor, general contractor. So I'm sure that would be coordinated with the building inspector. It's really not a part of our site plan.
Very rarely is site work on a project like this happening in the dark.
No, it's not in the dark, except that deliveries can be specifically brought in by 6 a.m. You can remove materials after job site construction ceases, and then your construction residue is pulled by your commercial order. So those things can definitely go during a dark or a dim lighting period.
They could. Normally, site lighting is not anticipated. I'm assuming that you're not gonna have permanent lighting during construction.
Correct.
But you might have light there. For safety, you have to have it.
Are you talking about a string of lights within the building construction? Or are you talking to meet OSHA requirements, or are you talking about lighting of the site?
What, I can't answer that. I'm just saying, I'm wondering, when you get to that point, the light that would be in the area that you need to have a safe work site, that's all.
I would imagine it's in the best interest of the owner and general contractor to have that, so I would have to encourage that.
John, this one's for you. Under new comments, line item 6, OCSD number 1, all references to be removed. What's OCSD?
Orange County Sewer District number 1.
Okay.
This is the Washingtonville Sewer District.
Okay, thank you. Well, we're perusing this. Do you have any questions for the applicant, John?
No, I'm assuming we'll be speaking later to review specifics. But many of the comments on the site plan are fairly minor items.
And the stormwater prevention program that you commented on, that we haven't gotten the official document yet, when would that be coming?
That will be up to the applicant. It's a very technical document. It's a lot of numbers, a lot of computer printout. The text of it, we can have them submit. The calculations, I spend a lot of time going through those. You are welcome to. In the history of this board, we haven't had the applicant submit a full SWIP until we've at least gotten very close on the technical side, just to avoid, it's a lot of paper
Understood.
and a lot of numbers.
Understood, it's an acknowledgement of the need though, right?
Correct.
That's right, and that's all we're looking for.
How about legal? Legal have anything for the applicant at this point?
Nothing at this time.
Thank you. The applicant have any questions for the board?
No, you know, we look forward to moving ahead. We want to work with John in the next few weeks to address the stormwater portion of his comments and get those resolved. I do agree with John that comments regarding the site planning are items that we can work through and expedite readily, easily, so I'm looking forward to doing that. But as he mentioned, the meat of it is in the stormwater, so we want to start to dig in with that.
Okay. Go ahead.
I have a question about lighting on the house.
Okay.
You mentioned some kind of carriage lantern to
Coach lighting.
show your respect for the historical nature of the area. What's happening on the house? Is it just a porch light or a walkway lantern, or are you doing anything on the house?
Yes, so on the house, at the front doors, we'll have the coach lights or carriage lights, whatever you want, however you want to term it, as wall sconces by the front door. And then in addition to that, on the side of the house, we're gonna have a floodlight that points towards the parking spaces, that's shown, on the plan. So those are the 3 or 4 lights that we're proposing, nothing,
Just from memory, you know.
nothing elaborate, nothing commercially.
Do you have a copy of the site plan? He included a picture of this proposed light on sheet C7. On the bottom left corner.
10, hold on, just bear with us 1 minute. So that's for the row houses and the separate 2-family. Is that it? Is that what we're saying?
Could you repeat? I'm sorry.
The lighting examples that you have is for the row houses
Yes,
and for the 2-family house.
yes.
And this is the lighting plan with the detail. That's, okay. And from memory, and I'm not looking at it, there's a lot of pages up here. I believe Orange County Department of Planning came back and about increasing the size of the parking for the 2-family residents. As I recall.
You know what,
It says-
I'll tell you, I remember the walkway that they wanted to the drive, which we show. I don't remember their comment on 2-family.
Yeah, right here.
I saw something, there's gonna be 4 spots for the
Well,
2-family.
he's referencing the Orange County response.
Yeah, they're currently proposing 4 spaces for the existing house. That is new to this plan.
Is that what you were asking?
No, it's up and down. But they're also talking about the snow removal. Can you tell me a little, I don't know if you've gotten that far yet, can you tell me a little bit about how you're gonna handle the snow removal?
Well, yeah, at the end of the drive, to access the back of the buildings, it's pretty much open, they can push the snow all the way towards the back.
I guess I'm talking about the other way,
Going toward the dumpster.
going towards the dumpster, and if you've got cars parked in the extra spots in the back, which there probably will be, you don't really have a lot of room to move the cars around.
Well, you could back plow it, you know,
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Are you, perhaps, the snow will be, like you said, pulled back, a J-turn, pushed out to the deeper side of the property? Are you considering, maybe you're considering that? I don't know if this is working. Is it working? It's working.
No, it is.
Right. The snow removal, pull back toward your driveway and then sort of a J-turn and push it back into the deeper area? Not into a swale, but into the darker, the deeper side of the property?
Yes. More towards the northwest of the property.
I'm not so much worried about this one, I was thinking over here, with all these cars here, where's the snow is going. And that's a lot of backblading to get that snow over to there.
Well, if it's not backbladed off the paved area, then it would have to go into the shrubbed area. So are you, that's, it would appear, it may end up there.
The shrub area you're talking about on the west side of the property by the parking, I mean, we could eliminate the shrubs there to allow snow push off if you'd like. It's fine with us.
Your thoughts, John, in terms of like?
Well,
maybe
they wouldn't necessarily have to backplow the entire drive. And they could do a 20-foot length at the end, which would be enough to back the truck into, and then just normal plow to push it down to the northwest where David is talking about.
Okay. All right. Is there enough room between the drive and the stone wall so that the snow plowing, ice buildup is not gonna damage that wall?
Yeah, they have roughly 5 feet as a minimum between to have a snow bank, but whatever additional snow there is gonna have to be pushed further along down the driveway.
Okay. I know the people from the First Presbyterian Church were in and are very concerned about the stone wall being undermined and or affecting either construction or snow. Are there any precautions that we can enforce or any way to?
Well, we do have some ongoing comments regarding ensuring that wall will be safe. And as the plans progress, I'm sure those will be taken care of. But currently, they're only proposing fill against that wall. So there wouldn't be any undermining, it would actually be the opposite.
Understood. Okay. You have something, Jim?
Yes, in referencing your notes, the question came up about the adjacent property owner and a gradient issue, et cetera. Is that open for discussion? I'm not quite understanding that part.
Their proposed grading extends a little beyond the property line.
Mhm.
I am assuming they will revise their grading to bring it onto their property. I mentioned going to the adjoining owner for an easement, because it would be their option to pursue that. I don't see that being their preferred course of action in this case.
And that gradient would also be a concern during heavy rain, snow, melt, et cetera, if that were grading downward to the adjacent property. So that's part of the considerations?
Well,
Keep it on your land?
the applicant's property is on the low side of the wall.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever runoff problems were created as a part of that grading work would be the owner's problem. It's not,
It's not
The
discharging
cemetery.
to somebody else, it's all
Right.
coming to him. But my concern is that with the disturbed property that he's gonna have, will he weaken the base of the wall? You know, that stone wall's been there a long
Well-
time.
the existing base is gonna stay. And now they're putting compacted fill on top of that against the wall, making the wall height shorter, making it less prone to a failure.
Okay.
You know, it's not a significant change, but where the wall is now currently 4 foot, when they're done, it would be 3'6".
I think I'm good on my questions for this evening. Tom, Joanne? Okay, do you have anything else for us? We're here, or anybody else? We're good?
We want to continue the process I do understand that we need to work through the stormwater. After that, I believe we can satisfy that, revise the EAF based on those comments, and then go on to a resolution.
So address the comments, revise EAF, work with the stormwater, and then we'll see you again.
Next year.
No public comment or questions?
Not this evening. We will be having a public hearing for this project before it goes anyplace, or after maybe one or two more meetings.
John? Steve,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
did I talk?
You go ahead first, then I'm going to say something.
Okay, the DPW, the water department, any idea when we're gonna hear from them?
I will give them a call. If they don't have anything to say, it's typically, they don't have an objection, but I will call and check with them.
Okay, thank you. I know from experience if you do.
Very few agencies in the village respond when we send something to them. Generally, if they see something that they really dislike, we will hear back. But it's time out of their schedule, it's not part of their regular job.
Yep.
So,
Thank you.
Just, going along that public hearing note, the public does not have to wait for a public hearing to submit questions or not questions, but comments to the board. You can send them into the building inspector, and they will make it to our desk. All comments that are submitted do make it to the village planning board. Not quite as fast as I'd like it sometimes, but they do get to us to be considered during discussions, et cetera. Okay. The next village planning board meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, January 10th at 7 p.m. in the village hall unless otherwise noticed. Motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you all for coming this evening.